What's up, my wagon junkies, and welcome to another episode. So today is Fix Your Truck Day. So it's going to be a Wagon Junkie garage day. And if you've been watching my videos, you know I take some licks here and there, primarily to my bumper. So really today is going to be a modification and a beautification of my bumper. And let me show you what I'm talking about here. So as I've said before, I'm taking a lot of abuse. This is everything from Moab to Arizona to even locally out here. Takes a big beating, and I'm constantly hitting stuff with this. And yeah, I could go and purchase another bumper, but why? You know, I've got a perfectly good stock one that I can modify for right now. Second, the new bumpers are extremely expensive. So what I want to do is, there's a few things. So first thing is, when I remove the bumper, I'm going to remove the fog lamps. Now, I do like them to a certain extent, but they're in my way. And eventually what I plan on doing is getting a bull bar or a light bar set up here. I think it's a bull bar that they call it. And then I'm gonna put my lights here. That should be good. And I'm gonna put some ditch lights on the truck, so on and so forth. So yeah, so what I plan on doing, I'm gonna cut from this point all the way here, follow this ridge line down, and then round it out. And of course, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to bang it out and make it all beautiful. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. The reason for it is my approach angle will change quite a bit. I'll be able to make contact with my tires without hitting this. And all in all, it'll give me exactly what I'm looking for, if everything goes well. So we will see. As I've stated before, I'm going to try these things, and then you guys can decide on whether you want to do it or not. Feel free to comment below. May look great, may be ugly. Either way, eventually I need to get a new bumper anyway, but I'm trying to save on cost, and I want to continue wheeling. So if there are any other bumper manufacturers out there that are secretly subscribed to my channel, hey, I need a heavy-duty bumper that goes with everything, my whole setup. So feel free to reach out to me. So sit back, enjoy the video. Alright guys, so first off, I know a lot of you, if you haven't taken off the bumper, when you look at it from the exterior, looks like it's just a bumper, so on and so forth. And you're probably asking the question, well, why don't you just go ahead and make your cut without removing it? Well, there's a couple of reasons for that. First off, underneath, you have all this additional bracing and everything else. I'm not looking to destroy any of that bracing. The bracing for the fog lamps. There's also other core components as far as harnesses and everything else, which I could remove and cut if I wanted to. But it's because of all this bracing that's in here that I need to remove the bumper and then remove the bracing and then remove my fog lamps. It's really a generally simplistic process for removing the bumper. So you have 4 bolts. So you have one here and one here. And it's on the outside of where you see the winch itself. It's a bolt here, one up there, and then one bolt here. Hopefully you guys can see that all right. And then one up there. So 4 bolts, and then disconnecting some of the additional connectors to it that you see here. Some go to the winch, some go to sensors, like this one here. So yeah, you got to make sure that from an unbolting and dismount, it's fairly straightforward. But you also have to make sure all your electrical connections themselves are removed, and then the whole bumper just comes right off. Then from there, like I said, you can see it on this side as well. Have the brackets for the fog lamps that I got to go ahead and remove on both sides. Then I'm going to remove the fog lamps. Then I'm going to work on the bottom portion of this bumper. I'm going to hammer it in or hammer it out depending on what I need to do. Probably use a little bottle jack to help get it back into its true shape. Yeah, I don't have all the tools that I need, but I have enough to go ahead and do this. I did it on my buddy's wagon. Helped to recenter and redo his particular bumper with a lot of the methods that I'm going to do on mine. And then from there, I'm going to go ahead and cut. And then afterwards, I'm going to clean it up and then use a paint, truck bed paint. And that truck bed paint will give it a little bit more durability while it's out there on the trails. It'll also make it easier for me to clean up down the line. At least that's the hope. And it'll protect these metal surfaces from rusting in the future. So yeah, as you can see, my bumper is pretty jacked up underneath, but I love to wheel. On another note, what do you think of that setup? So you guys have heard a lot about Synergy. You've probably seen a lot on my Instagram page. If you haven't been to my Instagram page, it's at PW_junkie on Instagram. Feel free to follow me on there as well if you're not already part of my page. But yeah, it's a really solid setup. So here's my new tie rod that I had installed. Very beefy on the ends, very easy to fix down the line in the future, and it is adjustable, which is really nice. They do have a bracket that comes with it for the steering stabilizer, which is, it cleaned this up. I had a dual stabilizer on here, which I wasn't too confident about on trails because I didn't want it to get hit, because the other shock actually went down here. Love Bilstein, but now I've gone back to a single shock setup. Here's my track bar, and then here's my drag link system. And then of course you guys saw my other build where I did the Dodge off-road steering bracket. So here's that unit. It's a little rusty, so I'll have to clean it up and stuff like that, but that's bound to happen with water anytime you wash the truck. So my truck is a little dirty on the undercarriage, but I haven't really cleaned it up all that much yet. But yeah, just kind of wanted to show you guys that setup here too, in case you guys were interested. You heard me talking about the Synergy components really made Gold Mountain and Little John Bull a fairly simple trek for the most part. These things held up beautifully. My alignment wasn't all out of whack like it usually is after doing Gold Mountain or any off-road trail. Everything's good to go, true centered. And aside from that, that's it. So we'll get to the build itself, the customization of the bumper, and feel free to comment if you want to. Like I've said before in the past, I'm not a professional, but I'm willing to try new things and learn new things, and this is one of those. So body work is one thing that I want to work on more and develop my skill set on. But yes, if you got any questions, comments, whatever, feel free to leave them below. Otherwise, let's get on with this video. All right, guys. Let me correct my earlier statement. So it's a total of 8 bolts. 4 on this side. So see this bracket right here? You got 2 bolts on this side, 2 bolts on this side. Same on the other side. What you want to do though, because I want to eventually get these parking sensors, I don't need to worry about these so much, but it's the ones that are over on this side, so on and so forth, that I got to deal with since I'm cutting this out. Up in here, I need to be able to remove this harness portion right here. There's a wiring harness. I got to remove that clip and set up there. Once I disconnect this, I'm going to go ahead and do the 8 bolts. And based off of that, the whole front bumper should come off. And then once I get the front bumper off, and before I do that, there's actually a harness unit somewhere in here for my, here it is. So this is just a simple unplug, but this is for the winch itself. So that needs to come out. But once I get this main harness removed, the bolts, the winch wire out, then this whole bumper should come right off. And then once I do that, then I'll start to take a look at where the various wire harnesses are, if they're gonna impede on my cutting. I don't want to remove them from the harness itself as far as cut or anything like that. What I'll do is I'll bundle them up and zip tie them and hide them up inside the bumper. That's the plan. So we'll see how this works out. I'm looking at this particular bracket here, and it's also a stiffener, I think, for this overall setup. So I need to make sure that I'm real careful with my idea of cutting, because my cut is actually going to be way up here, and that's going to eliminate all of this down here. But I need to make sure that it's not going to affect anything as far as the integrity. I'm also looking at the additional brackets on the side here. I would have to cut these off and make everything super flush. So a little bit more work than what I was expecting. So we'll keep going at it. Ran into a snafu. So the overall removal of the bolts, it was 8 bolts, and I'll show you here. So basically it's 8 bolts, 4 and 4, 4 and 4. Let me get that correct there. Underneath the bumper right here is where your harness is. That's for all the parking sensors and everything that you see up front here. Plus, it's also the connector for the fog lamps on both sides. So it's on the driver's side underneath. Oh, look at that. So I'm all about nature. That's a big dude. Sorry, I get distracted. Anyway, so I got everything removed. The major issue I have now is this faceplate. So in order for the bumper to come off, I can either cut out this plastic, which I don't want to do. I really don't. I want to keep it all intact. Or I got to get a special bolt to undo these. Now it looks like they didn't do this very well because they're kind of rotted out. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So if you got the 2019, this is going to be the limiting factor for you to get your bumper off. I don't see any other way around it. Like I said, I may actually end up sawzawing off the plastic here and here, here, and here, and call it a day, because I'm just tired of dealing with this. I think that's probably the easiest. Alright, so more to come. Alright guys, let's recap. So, in order to remove the bumper, you got 4 bolts on this side, 4 bolts on this side. You've got a connector for your wire harness, which powers up your sensors, your winch, so on and so forth. But it's over here, so you're going to have to disconnect that. And then in here is a winch connector, and that's for the control module. So you can pull it in, let it out, so on and so forth. Now, in order to get the bumper off, because of this plastic here, which as you can see here, I cut it, but because I didn't have the star bit to take off the faceplate at the time, you have to remove these, and then you're going to have to go ahead and remove your hook from your harness, and then from there you should be able to go ahead and pull this bumper out. That's what I'm hoping. There shouldn't be anything else. There are 2 hard pins in between the 4 bolts that align the bumper onto the frame itself. So yeah, there's a hard pin in there and a hard pin in there. That'll help you just guide it back into place. But aside from that, if you're looking for the star bit that you need, it's a T55. I just went to Harbor Freight and got a set of star bits because I didn't have any this size. They're a 1/2 inch impact T55. I used a breaker bar basically, but the bolt really isn't in there all that hard or tight, so it'll be easy. This should come off. Everything else should work just fine. Bumper should come off, hopefully. So yep, that's where I'm at right now. So it's been an interesting learning experience. When I did my buddy's bumper, we actually ended up taking a Sawzall because we didn't have this, and we were kind of pressed for time. So we took a Sawzall and cut it, and then the bumper came out. As you can see, you don't really need to do that. Just get the star bit, pull it out, everything will be hunky-dory. So aside from that, that's it. What I'm probably going to do is I'm just going to clean up this plastic with the Sawzall, whatever, just to make it look somewhat uniform. Or I can just take some JB Quick Weld, put it in between the seams, sand it up, and make it look less noticeable. I don't know. Haven't figured it out, but that's minor shit. So, more to come. See on the time lapse, we finally got the bumper off itself. As you can see, that's the front end. It still looks beefy even with everything off. Here's the bumper. Now there is one added step that I didn't even know about, because my buddy, I don't even think he had it on his. There's this plastic shroud portion that's also plugged into the bumper, so I'm probably gonna have to get some new little plastic rivets to replace these when I put the bumper back on. But yeah, aside from that, everything else is off, and I can start doing what I need to do. So more to come. Oh, and let me show you the bumper. So here's the bumper. As you can see, it's pretty banged up. Since I'm cutting here, I'm not even going to deal with this. Cutting here, coming around, probably round it off here. So I'll need to bang this out. Bang this out. Same thing with this side. So I'm going to come around, round it off, and then I'll need to bang this stuff out. And then, giant help me. Flip it. Like that. And as you can see, here's all the bracing and components inside. So there's a lot of stuff that you gotta think about before you go and just chop it. Here's the bolts and the hard pin. 4 on this side, 4 on this side, plus the hard pin itself. And here's all the bracing for the 2 fog lamps, which I'm gonna have to remove when I do the cutting. So it's gonna be fun. It's a fun project. Takes some time, but I think in the end it'll look great. It'll give me a lot more approach angle. And really what I'm looking for, as you can see here, I mean, you can see the insulation and stuff like that, but right here, once I do my cut on the bumper, this is going to line up with it. And realistically, I'm trying to get this tire so that it's clearing the bumper. So with the new cut, bumper should be about right in this area here, which gives me all that additional clearance. Before, the bumper was down here, and that's why I was always hitting it. So that's it for now. All right, guys, I'm back. So I removed all the components, the plastic, the harness, everything else. I started pounding it out, the metal, and then the camera flew. I continued on because I want to get this done. I'm tired, and I still gotta paint it and get it mounted. One of the key things is when I was looking at the truck, where I want to cut from the bumper portions, so on and so forth, how it would look from an aesthetic type of standpoint. There's just too many. It just looks hokey. It really does if I cut the bumper up too much. So what I decided to do until I get a new bumper down the line is just to pound this one out. I'm gonna repaint it. Should look pretty good. It won't look exactly like brand new, but it'll be close. And then I'm gonna mount it. And then down the line, when I get a new bumper, I'll just take this one off, and so be it. Okay, so let me show you what we did, or what I did. Went through and just hammered out everything, painted the bumper up real nice. Again, using, just a truck bed paint, just to give it a little bit more durability out there. Make it a little easier to wash. Still drying, so, and all in all, it looks 1,000 times better than what it did. I expect once the paint fully dries and cures and stuff like that, that a lot of these bangs and nicks will hide, but a lot of that is all underneath, and you don't see a lot of it unless you're looking underneath. All in all, though, I'm really liking the way that this turned out. And next steps are to install the bracing and components, fog lamps, everything else, and then get it mounted back up on the truck. All right. Hey guys, what's going on? So let me show you what we've got. So I've got all the components all installed in here. I didn't feel like doing a bunch of zip ties, so I went ahead and did some really high grade heavy duty duct tape, and that should hold the harness itself in place. I mean, the brackets themselves and everything else keep a lot of it concealed anyway and hold it in place. But yeah, all in all, it turned out really well. I cleaned up everything so it looks all nice for the most part going in there. This right here for this bracket, which actually bolts into the frame for the bumper, as you can see, it's torqued out, and I thought it was the bumper, but actually when I look at the other bracket right here, this bracket is actually bent up. And I didn't realize this until now. So that's something that's very interesting. So it is what it is. I could take all this out, bend it, put it back into place, but I'm not too concerned about it. At the end of the day, I will eventually get a new bumper down the line, but this will suffice. So yeah, the next part is installing it back on the truck, and then I'll do my final reveal video, and then that'll be it. I'll be closing it out. So thanks for watching. All right guys, so wait until you see this. I'm actually very impressed with it. I like it a lot. And so let me show you. Here she is. She looks very clean. Where I took the plastic out, so like I was saying before. So now I have full access. I can fit my hand in here and utilize the clutch, which makes it so much easier. God, a lot easier. I even painted the guard area for the winch, whatever the hell they call that, I don't know. But all in all, yeah, you know what, it's not going to be 100%, and that's fine. That's really what I'm trying to do, is just get it back to some basic shape, make it look presentable, and then go from there. So yeah, all in all, I'm really good. I'm really happy with the turnout on this. You'll notice there is a gap here, but I had this gap ever since I bought the truck. For some reason, when they did this groove in here, the indentation, it wasn't enough to allow this to sink in far enough. And I tried to pull it and everything else, but in the end, I'm very happy with this. Yeah, there's some dirty fingerprints on it and stuff like that, but I'm ready to go wheel. So feel free to like, share, comment, razz. I don't care, to be honest with you. I wanted more clearance, but like I showed you guys before, there's so many brackets to stiffen up the bumper itself that if I were to go and cut and reduce those stiffeners, this thing would be flopping in the wind, and I really didn't want that. It's not the thickest material, and really I just need it to survive long enough for me to get another bumper sometime in the near future. But I want to use the crap out of this bumper first before I go and get a new one and start beating that to hell. So all in all, yeah, feel free to comment, let me know what your thoughts are. I'll be happy to answer any questions. I'm not a professional, but I can get shit to work, and I can do stuff, and I'm not afraid to go ahead and tackle it on my own, even if I don't know what I'm doing. That's the best way to learn as far as I'm concerned. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know there's going to be a ton of time lapse in there. Maybe you can see some of the breakdowns on there, maybe you can't. All in all, hope you enjoyed the video. Like, share, subscribe, all of that stuff. And until the next video, Wagon Junkie out.